Oh, that scared me. Is this the best area that I can farm, right? Do I need to do it within the 200 right here? Does it have to be the 200 right around this house? No. What if it was right here in this adjoining, like just to the west? Would that make it less effective? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, right? So I want to make sure that this number, the turnover rate, is as high as I can possibly get it, right? So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to break down the zip code into turnover rates, right? So we're going to have a turnover rate for every single carrier route in the zip code. So I'm just going to go ahead. What was the number again? 4.9. We'll just say
Yeah, it was roughly that.
Roughly 4.5, right? Let's see if we can improve on it. And this zip code's 97701. Kevin, please be my memory. I got the memory of a goldfish.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Oh no. At least I know what state we're in, you know. Progress. Oh, look at this. So I made such a big deal out of it that now I remember the zip code 97701. We're going with carrier route. Don't worry, your title reps will teach you how to do this. Talking to you, Krista. All right, so what I just did is I broke down the entire zip code into carrier routes. So these are all carrier route numbers. And you use every door direct. That is why I did that, right? So I can give this carrier route to the USPS. It's sorted from highest to lowest, just a smart way of doing it, right? So at the top, we got 15.26% turnover rate, right? Average year owned, people live here for about 6 years before they move. The average price is about 470, right? Non-owner occupied ratio. I don't know if I like that too much if I was door knocking, because 38% of them are non-owner occupied. Might not be the greatest for the door knocking scenario. But that being said, it's a lot better than 4%, right? For the 4% is like, where is like page 3? It's so far back there, right? So I see this a lot where we don't target the best area. We just target by vicinity. That is not the right way of doing it. If you have a lot of homes being sold, so I think it was what, 209. So you have to send out 200 mailers every single month. You got to make 200 phone calls every single month. You have to knock on 200 doors every single month, right? And you're targeting 9 sales. Well, what if you were targeting this area where there's 190 homes and there's 29 sales, 20 more sales, less houses? Why would you target the other one? It doesn't make any sense, right? So we want to pick the best one. Let's go ahead and do that. So we kind of put everything in one spot. That's why we call it title toolbox. I'm going to go over here again. I know I'm kind of breezing through this because I don't expect you to remember it. If you want to add phone numbers, you can certainly do that. If you want to add emails, you can do that as well. Right? So it's up to you on how you want to market. Obviously, we have the carrier route numbers, so EDDM is available. We also have labels that you can print and stuff like that. So just a thing on the phones, we do not scrub against the do not call list. So again, we do not scrub against the do not call list. Why do we not scrub against the do not call list? Because if you do, your phone numbers suck. Everybody's on the do not call list, right? We haven't really, and I'm not a lawyer, and so I'm not going to give you legal advice, but I haven't really heard of any realtors or lenders or anybody getting calls from the FCC about, calling somebody to ask if they want to refinance or sell their house. I haven't heard of it. Instead, what I get is my phone blowing up constantly with robot calls and all kinds of other stuff that the FCC has not followed up on either, or people trying to IRS scam me, right? So I think, the do not call list to us is pretty pointless. That being said, 75% is about the average. We have about 75% of the phone numbers in the country. So that's about your average capture rate. So if you pull a list, about 75% of those, we can find phone numbers. Yes, we can find cell phone numbers. Yes, we can also find VoIP numbers, like if people use Google Voice as their phone number on their home. I'm going to go ahead and pull this list just to do that. And let's go. So you can also take this list if you wanted to and upload it into Facebook target ads, right? So if that's your jam, go for it. I know if you are familiar with Facebook target ads, the big challenge has always been making the file compatible with Facebook target ads, because you have to change the headers and all that stuff, to upload it, and it could be a pain in the butt. I mean, I know that. It's also with direct mail vendors, it's the same problem. That's kind of why we developed this solution. If you just click on Facebook, it will make a file for you that you can drag and drop straight into Facebook target ads. Easy as that. You don't have to mess with anything. It'll ask you for a file when you're uploading it. Drop our list in there. You're done. If you use CoreFact, just put in your username and password. Oh, that's the file. I'm sorry. If you use CoreFact, you can either get a file that you want that you can drag and drop, or you can use the third-party export button and put in your username and password for CoreFact and then hit go, right? That will send all the data over to CoreFact and you're done. So whatever you're doing, we got it covered. If you're going to print out your own labels, they're right here. If you're going to use social media, that's right here. If you want to use phone numbers, we got that. If you want to use emails, we have that as well, right? So what is the right method now that we're here? What's better? I get asked that a lot, and maybe I'll stop for questions for a second before I ask a question that nobody asked. What are some questions that we have? Because I see in chat there's like 4. Kevin, you're muted.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Most people like me muted. So no, they were questions more about the program and how to expand screen, that kind of stuff. So I already took care of those in the chat.
Okay.
So you're still good.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions while we're paused?
I would say we had one question asking how they get someone emailed actually asking how they get a username and password into our website. And for the person who emailed, I'll be able to set that up for you as soon as this class is over, and we can get that username and password over to you. So you'll be able to access. So if anyone has interest in that, feel free to email us, either myself, Krista Carpenter, Annette, info@DeschutesTitle.com. Any of those, and we'll be able to get you set up and follow up with you on how to use this program more specifically. We do have a question popping up. How much does it cost to buy phone numbers and emails?
5 cents for phone numbers, 7 cents for email.
Yeah, that's per record, right?
Per record, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not 5 cents and you get all the phone numbers in the country, no.
And I think too, just to note on that is, when you run a search, it'll show you what it would cost if everything had a phone number and email.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll give you the worst case scenario in terms of your charge. But then once it actually populates those phone numbers and emails, that's when you'll actually be charged the actual number, which will be significantly less, because it's only going to find maybe at best 75% of those. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't give you the actual cost right off the bat. It gives you the cost that it knows the worst case scenario in terms of or best case scenario, however you want to look at it. If it found 100% of all phone numbers and emails, that would be the charge it's showing you. And then after you run the charge, you will actually be charged less than that because it'll only charge you for those it finds. Isn't that correct, Matt?
That is correct.
Yep. And another question looks like, oh no, that was it. So
Cool beans.
Yep.
You can also look up, put people's address in here and pull like a single phone number for somebody. If you want to be a stalker. If you're stocky like that. And by the way, disclaimer, I do not encourage anybody here to stalk anybody. Okay, so I get asked this a lot, which is, what's the best way to farm? Is mailers better? Is calling people better? Is knocking on doors better? I would say pick two. One of them should be where you're actually in contact with somebody. So what I mean by that is you're live, your voice is communicating with their voice. So telephone, door knocking, yeah, those are the two. You want to have one of those, right? You have to be somebody who's I mean, if you're knocking on the door, I would say that is the most effective. You're literally in front of them. You're using body language. What's up, Kevin?
we had one other question pop in, right? And I answered it on the chat, but I think it's important for everyone to hear it. It's on the cost question. Are there other costs outside of what was just discussed? And I think we as the title company are covering that cost, aren't we, Matt?
Yep.
So basically it is free to use. Everything else he's showing you is basically free to the end user. So.
Yep, absolutely. Everything. So, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, there's the exceptions of what we already discussed. And then if all of a sudden your search is maybe 10,000 records, it may exceed the allotted amount the state allows us to give you. But if you keep it within like what we're showing you, several hundred record type searches, that kind of thing, I think it'll all fall within the regs.
Yes. So yeah, I'm going to say that door knocking is the most effective. Phone calls is going to be the second most effective. And I think that you should it's a backup, right? So a lot of people drop mail and then they're like, and that's it. They don't knock on the door. They don't call anybody. It's just, here's some mail. And then that's it, right? In an unestablished territory at that. There's no way that you're going to be successful doing that, right? Just dropping mail and you haven't been that territory. You're not very established there. Anybody could walk in and take that farm from you if they wanted to try to, right? If they actually put in an effort, because all it takes is them walking around, walking their dog, talking to the neighbors, bringing them cookies, giving them notepads, right? If you're all up in their grill, in every possible scenario, like when they go outside and they're watering their lawn, there you are, right? They open up the mailbox, there you are again. When they go on Facebook, there you are again. Trust me, if they go to sell their house, they're probably going to think, oh yeah, let me call that guy because he's kind of the neighborhood realtor. I see him everywhere, right? Does it make sense? So if you're only dropping mail, I get your little postcard. I've never talked to you before. I've never seen you before. I get your postcard. I just chuck it. That's it, right? Marketing is about a repetitive message and branding. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you just keep hammering people in any possible way that you can until they remember your face and they remember what you do for a living. Right. And that you're good at it. And two, if I was going to sell my house, I would sell it to the most annoying person possible because I want someone to sell my house. Right. You're not going to sell my house if you're not really present. So that's that. The frequency. This is another challenge that I've seen is that people are not consistent on their marketing efforts. You must be consistent. There's no possible way that you're going to find off-market properties if you're like all over the place. So there's a good trick to use is like a lot of the mail companies have drip campaigns, right? So you just set everything up for the whole year and then you're done. You don't have to think about it. I got all my bills on auto pay, so I don't have to sit there and pay each bill, right? I'm sure a lot of you do too. It's the same with your marketing. You're never going to stop marketing, just like you're never going to stop paying your light bill, right? Keep it going and have it already, you know, every month, boom, I pay for it and my stuff goes out, right? And then you do your 200 calls or knock on 200 doors throughout the month, break it up weekly. These are the things that you need to do in order to be successful farming. Otherwise, you're just throwing money out the window. If you chuck mail at these people just once, and then 3 months later you send more, and then 4 months later you send more, this is all that money you just spent, you might as well set it on fire. Like, there's very little chance that you're going to find a listing. You might if you got lucky, but it's not a good chance, right? What else?
We have a question in the
Go ahead.
queue.
Mhm.
They're going back to the premium data for phone numbers, emails, that kind of stuff.
Let's go.
With phone numbers, are they, and I remember we asked this same question with you, Matt, when we were looking at this tool. With phone numbers, are they cleared from the do not call list?
No, we covered that. Yeah, they are not on the do not call list.
Say that again.
They
could be on the do not call list.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if you recall, like, what we like spent a whole like section on that.
Yeah, but this is the audience asking. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, they're not scrubbed against the do not call list. No.
Do you want to explain why?
Sure. The reason why we don't scrub against the do not call list is because everybody's on the do not call list, so you wouldn't really have any phone numbers. When we used to scrub against the do not call list, all we got was complaints. It was insane. Like, the amount of bad feedback we got was unbearable. We actually ripped the phone numbers off of our site and did not put them back up until we found a way of getting phone numbers that are not on the do not call list. All you're gonna get if you scrub stuff is that's it. And like those old tape deck answering machines of home phone numbers. That's all you're gonna get.
That was the only question I had there.
Cool beans. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but if you look at your phone, or just, I challenge you today, how many phone calls are you gonna get today from insurance companies, home warranty, car warranty, maybe even an IRS tax scam? I guess it's not that time of year, but when we get into February, that'll be that, you know, that they're gonna come and haul you away because you didn't pay your taxes. Like, oh my God, my phone blows up every day. I've lodged complaints with the FCC before, and they've done absolutely nothing about it. I still get the same calls every single day. They're not chasing down realtors and finding them for asking people if they're selling their house. They can't even get these scammers off of, you know, these phones. All right, is there any other questions, Kevin?
Not currently in the queue. I'll let you know if one pops up.
Super cool. Thank you for your questions, by the way. So, about this list, that's where we were. So another challenge that I see is that some realtors will take this list. And so I already know that the turnover rate was what, 15%? So let's say I send mail out to this list. I'm like, holy crap, 15%. This is going to be a gold mine. So I send out mailers, but I'm looking at my phone. My phone's not ringing. And I wait a month, my phone still doesn't ring, right? So now, what am I going to do? Do I take this list and delete it and then get another list? Or do I send mail again, right? Well, a lot of times what I see happen is people will delete their list and get another list. And they might even change the postcard, right? The challenge, but the problem really is that the expectations are too high. You're not going to send mailers out on the first shot, and then all of a sudden, all these people, Gary, Marianne, Bruce, they were already ready to go, right? They're already ready to sell. They're just waiting for your mailer. and then they call you. That's just not, it's not realistic expectations, right? You have to keep repeating your message. Otherwise, nobody's going to respond to it, right? Marketing is like a funnel, and people start, I wish I had a picture of a funnel. People start at the top of the funnel, right? Where they're thinking about something, or maybe you plant the idea, then they start thinking about it, right? And then they start doing a little bit of research. This takes time. So what happens when you take a list, you market to it, and then you stop and then delete it and then go over, let's say over here now, and then start marketing to them, and then you stop and then you move over here. All you're doing, it's like writing the first chapter of a book, right? Say you're an author, you write the first chapter of a book, you don't save the file, and then you just switch your computer off without even saving it. What's going to happen? You have to start the whole thing all over again, right? There's no way that you can farm successfully if you keep changing the list. And by the way, I'm a data company. So if you keep changing the list, then Kevin has to pay me a whole bunch of money, right? I love you changing lists. So this isn't a self-serving statement. Please change lists over and over, right? But if you want listings, that's not the right way of doing it. You want to hit the same people over and over and over again and put more effort into the list, not less effort or changing them. So I am going to conclude that part. Is there any other questions on that little topic before I move on?
There's no questions in the poll yet, but we'll give them a second to ask any. And then forgive me, because I was also responding to some of the chats and stuff. Did you already touch on the lender version of this?
I didn't. I'm actually going to get to that. The
Okay.
lender version, you guys, super easy. I used to be in your business. Don't worry. This is actually the realtor part is a little bit more difficult. Lender, all you got to do is find people with high interest rates at this point. Right? And I'll tell you how to do that. We're all good?
One question, which is how often are the lists updated?
Along with your county assessor. So this is county assessor data. When your county assessor updates it, it's updated. So FYI, when you save, and that was actually a good question because I wanted to talk about this. When you save your farm, which by the way, you do by clicking on save farm, you name it whatever you want. There is kind of a hidden feature that you don't really know about until you get like an email update. When we do update this, it updates automatically if you saved it. So you have to save this farm in the system itself, not just export it, right? You save it in the system, this will automatically be updated. So you don't have to keep pulling the same farm over and over and over again, right? You don't have to go through this process again. You do it once and then we update it. So if Marianne moves out, she's off the list. And whoever moved in, they're on the list now. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
you also,
and then,
go ahead.
And then you'll notify, I think, our title reps of that so we can notify them, correct?
We actually notify both the title rep, if the title rep wants to be notified. Yeah, right. It can get annoying when there's a lot of them.
Right.
But we do notify the agent.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
we tell them. Yeah, and we don't like notify you every time somebody moves because that would be super annoying. We notify you once a month on what we changed, right? So Marianne moved out, Bruce moved in, Carrie's here, you know. So you get an email about that like once a month.
Oh, cool.
Cool beans. So let's talk about another type of farming. So by the way, this is like geo farming. That's called, right? So you're picking a specific geographical location to farm. That's what you're doing in this. This is how you choose territory. There's another type of farming I can talk about. It's called target marketing, right? So this is a little bit more advanced, but it also opens up a lot of doors on finding your ideal customer, right? So let me go Oregon. This detects where you are. I'm not in your state, so you won't have to mess with this state and county. All right, so I'm just gonna throw a couple ideas out on you guys because I don't want to drown you in filters. I think it's about 500 to 600 filters in this system, and we hide a lot of them, right? So there's secret menus. I want to point this out. There's secret menus on every one of these tabs, and it says other available fields, right? If you click on that, you can add all this stuff in the menu. So I'm not going to go over all of this stuff. I don't want your eyes rolling. I don't want you to fall asleep, and I don't want to fall asleep, right? So I'm just going to show you just some examples of what you could do. So let me do like a filter combination. So here's how it goes. I'm sitting here and I'm wondering what's my ideal customer. I like working with elderly people. I like helping them out. A lot of times they like to downsize. And one of the reasons why I like listing elderly people's properties is because when they downsize, they also want to buy another property. So now I can sell their property and sell them another one, right? So I picked up a listing and then they're a buyer at the same time. So the reason why, when I was talking to my favorite homeowner, the reason why they wanted to move was because they had a 2-story house, right? And the husband had bad knees and he keeps going up and down the stairs, his knees hurt. They also have 4 bedrooms and their kids have long moved out, right? They come over maybe twice a year with their grandson. So this is the story. This is I mean, you see this all the time, right? So now I'm thinking, how can I find more customers like that? That's the mindset I want you to get into when you start talking to like homeowners and you find success with them, is using data to find somebody in a similar pattern as that person through the data itself. Well, I know that clicking on other available fields, A, brings me up the secret menu, and B, I can add in a number of stories. So they said that going up and down the stairs was distressful for them, right? So I'm gonna look for a customer like that has a house with more than 1 story. But secondly, they had told me that they had 4 bedrooms, right? And that they've had the house for a really long time and that their kids have moved out. Well, I know that that's the classic empty nester. So what I'm going to do is go over here and flip empty nester, which is 30+ years ownership of a house and 3+ bedrooms. I'm going to flip that to a yes. So what I'm going to do is search all over the county for people that are elderly, that have more than 3 bedrooms, that have 2 stories or more. We have 451. So let's test my theory. Is that a lot or a little? Well, what happens if we took off empty nester? How many 2-story houses are there? $21,000, right? So think about that. Out of 21,000 2-story houses, there's only 450 of them are empty nesters. Why? Because people that are empty nesters, like elderly people, don't want to be in a 2-story house with 3+ bedrooms. They don't, right? And if you kind of tickle their ear, that's a good opportunity for you. So that's an example of target marketing, is when you're using data to find your ideal customer. And then you just continue. You can actually start specializing in something, right? And then going out and finding it. You can even sprinkle it into your marketing, if that makes sense. I'm not going to go over all the crazy possibilities. I would encourage you to reach out to your title rep and ask them questions. I do advise them from time to time, so I'm always chucking ideas at them. They will know some ideas to give you, trust me. So lastly, I want to cover, I don't want to leave the lenders have been so patient, and thank you. Thank you for waiting. I want to cover the mortgage information now, and then I'll show you guys how to pull a property report. So mortgage information, this is super easy, guys. We have loan to value ratio, which is awesome. So if you want to find somebody that has a lot of equity, no problem. So let's say less than or equal to 80% LTV, right? So they have 20% equity. So what's popular right now? Rate and term refinancing, right? So everybody's trying to get a lower interest rate. What's crazy is how many people still have a high interest rate. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All right, so I'm going to show you. Watch. Let's see. Interest rate greater than or equal to, let's say 4%, right? That'd be pretty high in this day and age. We got an 80% LTV. I'm just going to go with that, right? So 80% loan to value and a 4% interest rate or above in the county of Deschutes. What do you think, Kevin? Oh, there we go. 8,183. Yep. And is that a Deschutes thing? Absolutely not. This is happening all over the place. So with the mortgage boom that we have, all these people were calling you. They're like beating down your door till their knuckles were bleeding, trying to refinance their house, right? Those are all the savvy homeowners. They keep an eye on everything. They do their research and yada, yada, yada. But there's a whole bunch of people that are not savvy homeowners. As you know, I think both the real estate agents and the loan officers, as you would know, right? Sometimes you look at them and you're like, God, why are you making these decisions or no decision, right? There's a lot of not savvy homeowners. And this is them, 8,000, there's 8,000 of them. These ones require you to talk to them. Like they're not going to call you. They're not going to do anything. They also could be procrastinators. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. I'll do it next year, right? You want to talk to these people. There are lenders right now, I can tell you, that are combing the entire country. So I'm talking about making 100,000 calls using a call center to comb the country and look for these people. I would strike while the iron's hot. Right now is outreach time before, before interest rates go back up. After that, you're going to be back to the way it used to be. But I think as far as, people calling in to the point where, you can't even take any more business, those days are going to start wrapping up if they have not already. Now you got to start doing outreach, but there's plenty of grapes on the vine. Trust me. Do we have any questions from the LOs?
Chris asked a great question, which is, are we able to farm in surrounding counties in addition to your home county?
You could farm in Florida if you want.
Yep.
You have access to the entire country. Anything
Excellent.
else?
Let's see if anyone else asks a question. I don't see any at the moment. Nope, I think you're good to move on.
Cool beans. So lastly, there's a lot, by the way, in the system. I encourage you to play around with it. I'm just covering a small portion of it for time, so you guys aren't rolling your eyes. Lastly, what do you do once you get a listing, right? So off of this, someone's like, hey, I want to sell my house. And we're like, okay, let me see what this house is all about. I'm going to pull a property report on this house, right? You can still do that in here. You don't have to go to another system. You can just pull a property report. So here's my house I want to pull a property report at. This is my listing. I'm going to pull a profile with comparables. for Mr. Jeff Bennett. So you can see I only have one comp here. That sucks, right? So what I could do is change the parameters on how I'm pulling these comps. So if you run into this challenge where you only have one comp, then yeah, you can go ahead and change the distance, beds, bath, square footage, or whatever you want. And when you're done, you hit update results. Of course, if you have a lot of comps on here already, you could just skip over this whole process and hit generate profile. Yeah, if you don't want some of these comps, you can just get rid of them, right? Whatever comps you have in here is going to be added into the final report, right? So I'm just going to leave these and have those go into the report. So what is this going to give you? This is going to give you the complete transaction history on the property, as well as the property characteristics, the owner information, the comparables, the complete amortization schedule, and it also has a few shortcuts at the very bottom.
The question came up. So do we have access to print these list kits ourselves, or do we still need to contact our title person? And you can answer that to some degree, but I would say either.
Either or. When
Yeah.
they say list kit, are they talking about this? The
This is a
report?
property profile. Yeah, it's basically a list kit. The difference will be is
Yeah, either.
You won't have access to the last deed of record on here. So if you want a copy of that deed, you'd want to contact our title department. But here you would have all basically the same property information that you would in a list kit by just accessing it here. And you'll have 24/7 access to this tool.
Yeah, you could pull this yourself, or you can call your rep and have them pull it. You can also pull it from the phone app. That's another option for you. Either way. So this is the property report. Pretty standard, right? Property characteristics, recent loan and sale information, assessment and tax information. And then you have your transaction history. Down here at the bottom is where things are a little different, right? So after the comps, you ever hear that saying, the best time to get a sale is after you've made a sale? We made a shortcut for that. So you can go from the report and just jump straight over to pulling all the nearby neighbors. Pink. So now I'm going to do the open house. I'm going to contact the nearby neighbors, right? And then we go and do that same process once again. Do I want to contact the nearby neighbors? Let's check the turnover rate and all that stuff, right? So we have everything is pretty much lined up for you. You pull the report, you look at the list, you check the turnover rate. If it's not good, then you choose another spot. Boom, boom, boom. Do I have any questions on that? I'm actually going to conclude it from there, Kevin. I think I've talked enough here.
Do we have any questions in the queue then? I don't see any at the moment, but we'll give everyone a second. While they are, I'll just, while people might be looking or thinking of questions they might have, I'll mention a couple of things again. One is if you want access to this tool, it is 24/7. The only cost to this is we ask that you support your local businesses, and we are one of those. So if you're pulling this data, we ask that you consider Deschutes County Title as your title company. That's the only cost to using this tool unless you're accessing Premia data. Along that, just contact us and we can get you signed up. As you can see, there's a lot of features in this, so it probably would be worthwhile to sit down with one of our reps to kind of go through it again. However, you're welcome to get that username and password and just start playing around. Another question did come in though, Matt, and it is it possible that a low turnover rate means there might be more turnover about to happen?
Negative. If you look at the historical data, like let's say, we'll just pull this one for example. So we have a graph here, right, on a 5-year look back. So you could see that this little graph here, we're going, if you look down here, I don't know if you guys can see this or if it's too small for you, but we're starting over here. We got June 2021 marked here, right? This is like November 2016. Look at how steady the graph is. Like it fluctuates and goes up and down, but it's steady, right? This is a steady 10% turnover rate. I look at data like a lot, right? I look at a lot of data. And I could say that looking back 5 years on most of the farms that I look at, it just stays the same, right? You're not changing anything. You could, I know some people are like, well, I could change the turnover rate. You can't, because the reality is with marketing, you're not forcing people to make a decision. You're capturing their decision. You're happening to show up at the right time because you're consistently marketing to that person. Does that make sense? Like you didn't like they're not selling their house because you told them to. They were already going to sell their house, right? They made the decision because maybe they filed for divorce, right, with their wife, or maybe they got a new baby. You'd had nothing to do with it. You just happened to be there and give them the message because you're always doing that, right? You're always giving them that message. You just happened to be there when they made that decision, and then they made the decision to go with you, right? So you yourself, you cannot change a turnover rate. It would be narcissistic at best to think that you can change the numbers. Even if you had a holograph of yourself popping out of a mailer, it wouldn't change.
Okay, thank you for that, Matt.
Yep, no problem.
And I think it's sometimes, also I would say that if you have a higher turnover rate available to you, why would you want to put that much effort into trying to increase a turnover rate that already exists somewhere else, right?
Right.
So if you already have lower hanging fruit, why climb the tree? So, that's also that's a great point you're making.
Maybe if you walked around the neighborhood causing divorces, then
yeah, no, let's not promote that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I don't even want to go there. So appreciate that. But just if there's other questions, go ahead and ask those. A lot of the number one question we normally get is, when will I get my CE certificate? We will, as soon as the conclusion of this is over, it'll take us about 2-3 days to turn that around. And so by no later than Tuesday next week, you will have your CE certificates. We will email those out to you. And again, if you want access to this, you like what you see, and again, there's no obligation. You're not signing up to pay for anything, and you want to play around with it, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get you a login to our website. Again, that login will access any of our current tools. So not just Title Toolbox, the other tool that's available now too is you'll be able to start looking up homeowners association data, which is currently, I think, we'll be the only title company with that data on our website. So that said, I don't see any other questions. Again, Otis, thank you for sending over that license number. That'll help us with the CE certificates. Is there any other questions for Matt while we have him? And it doesn't look like there are. I would say to this tool, we're just scratching the surface. There's a lot of other benefits. So again, he's showing you the highlights. These are probably the two things you'll use it the most for, which is a quick farm and or a quick list kit. But there's a lot of other super awesome features that are in this tool. So feel free to reach out, talk to us. With that, thank you very much, Matt, for taking time out of your day to present to us today and let everyone see it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're excited to launch this, excited to make it available to the real estate community here in Central Oregon. And again, it is a national tool, so you can farm in Crook County, Jefferson County, Klamath County, Lake County, or anywhere else in the United States for that matter. So it's a very, very useful resource. with that, I'll go ahead and conclude. We're about 5 minutes to the hour, so I think it's close enough. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys all joining us today for this, and happy selling, and we're approaching the holiday season, so happy holidays. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Yep. Happy hunting, everyone. See ya.
Bye.